Happening now, crews are out on the Barcelona harbor, dredging debris that have been washing in. We have the latest on their efforts. And we hear from a local church giving books to those. Plus, we have an update from our Washington, D.C. correspondent, as a deal has finally been reached with U.S. debt.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, a Jamestown man was charged following an alleged fight in Drain 3 on Monday. Officers were dispatched to a residence on North Main Street in the city of Jamestown Monday morning for reports of a fight. Upon arrival, police located several individuals walking away from the scene. Now, officers had stopped the group while another spoke to the alleged victims. After investigation, it was found that 37-year-old Tony Stebbins had gotten into a physical altercation with three others in the North Main Street residence, causing physical injury. Now, the victims were adamant that Stebbins was charged. He was therefore placed into custody without incident. Stebbins now faces 3 counts of assault. He was released with an appearance ticket for the City of Jamestown Court. Well, an Ellery man now faces multiple charges related to a gun near other individuals over the weekend. Officers responded to a complaint of gunshots on Dutch Hollow Road in the town of Ellery on Sunday. Upon investigation, police determined that 40-year-old Michael Morrison had recklessly endangered and discharged a firearm multiple times while in close proximity to others. Officers then arrested Morrison and charged him with reckless endangerment. He is scheduled to appear in the town of Ellery Court at a later date. Well, dredging has begun on the Barcelona harbor in Westfield. In the past 4 years, over 12 feet of sediment has been deposited over a 4-acre area. Contractors and crews from the Army Corps of Engineers have started the process of relocating debris. Now, County Executive P.J. Wendell tells us that this has been in the works for many years. With a plethora of huge storms and big waves, a slew of debris has made its way onto the shore. With the area being near federal and state waters, a slew of federal funding has appeared to help clear out the international waters of Lake Erie. Now, the county executive believes that to deal with the sediment, more has to be done than just removing it from the shore.
That area needs to really be not only dredged to its previous condition back to 2019, but also repairs in the breakwaters and also things what they refer to as sedimentation traps offshore. They've been very successful in Lake Erie, down in the Presque Isle area, and so that's where we're at right now. So we're looking at an immediate remedy right now, and then also looking for a long-term sustainability.
Now, Wendell had added that multiple agencies from Chautauqua County are helping with this endeavor. Well, for 3 years in a row, the Jamestown Unitarian Universalist Congregation has set up a free books table on holidays. For this year's Memorial Day parade, the committee had a wide array of books on display for all ages to take as they please in efforts to educate and encourage reading. The church also set up these free books giveaways on Halloween, as well as traveling different school districts in hopes of instilling the love of reading to young children.
Everybody needs to read in order to be a full functioning citizen, so we think it's just very important for kids to have their own books. We have to read, people have to read. It's really important to know what's going on in the world, and very important.
Now, members of the Congregation believe that being aware of the world is knowledge, and everyone should possess. And what better way to gain that knowledge than by reading? Well, switching gears a little bit, we'll get a check of our first weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Andrew Stevenson. And Memorial Day was really a great day out there, wasn't it?
It was not only yesterday, the whole week was pretty good. Hopefully you got out there and enjoyed the weather this past weekend because it was absolutely beautiful. But for some reason you weren't able to get outside. We have plenty more sunshine in the forecast for the foreseeable future. Live look from the Randolph Peaches and Cream Sky camera. And yes, mostly sunny skies out there. Blue skies across the region that will continue through the rest of the afternoon. afternoon. Here's a look at the weather headlines, what you need to know. The summer-like weather that we've had this past weekend, that we pretty much had for the past few weeks, will continue throughout the rest of the week and into this week, and that means plenty of sunshine today, tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and you get the idea. Daily highs in terms of temperatures will be well into the 80s, if not some places getting close to 90 by the end of the week, and very little chances for any rain in the foreseeable future. Yesterday we made it to a high of 83 degrees in the city of Jamestown. Our low for yesterday was 53, and the records for today, 93 is the record high set back in 1929, the record low of 30 set back in 1996. So here is your First Defense weather forecast for the rest of the afternoon out there. Mostly sunny skies across the region. Dew points will still be manageable, so it won't feel too overly muggy out there. Highs today will range from the upper 70s near the immediate Lake Erie shoreline to the low to mid 80s across the inland areas with a south wind of 5 to 10 miles per hour. I'll have a look at that full forecast, including how warm it's going to get this week, coming up in just a few minutes.
Alrighty, Andrew, we'll see you then. WNY News Now continues. We look at New York State schools and how they're including indigenous histories. And later, we look at the shelves and how to comfortably afford summer prices. Stay with us, as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Macker mites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
You know, hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong
private land has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Some New York State lawmakers are pushing for a bill that would require public K-12 schools to include Asian American Pacific Island history in their curriculum. Now our New York State Capitol correspondent Elise Klein talks to lawmakers about the impact of this legislation and updates us on the bill's progress.
Some lawmakers say anti-Asian hate is increasing, making curriculum legislation even more pertinent.
It's easy to hate people you don't know. And that's why we're looking to mandate the teaching of the Asian American experience.
The bill would require the State Department of Education to integrate and identify Asian American Pacific Islander history in the curriculum of public K-12 schools. Some lawmakers echo the significance of education. Assemblymember Grace Lee says that Asian Americans belong in the history books of New York State public schools.
And when we are treated, as Asian Americans are treated as foreigners, as strangers to this country, as not part of the American story and our history, that gives the opening for people to treat us as other.
Lee adds hate is inspired by the way people perceive Asian Americans. Some advocates with the Coalition for Asian American Children and Families, or CACF, say this bill is about more than education. It's about justice.
And then when you don't see yourself in curriculum, it impacts your sense of self. It impacts the dreams you see of yourself. It impacts how other people see you.
The State Department of Education wrote in an email to WNY News Now they do not support curriculum. This bill is currently still in committee, but some lawmakers are confident it will pass this session. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Well, a recent study suggests that New York City is sinking under the weight of its structures, asphalt, and residents. Now, researchers estimate the city itself weighs about 1.7 trillion tons. This weight is speeding up the natural process of ground compression called subsidence. Studies say that the city's 5 boroughs are sinking at different rates, but they average to 1 to 2 millimeters per year. Now, lead researchers of the U.S., Tom Parsons, says that this process sounds slow, but the weight of the city, combined with the rising ocean levels, are causing the city to meet water faster than they should. Now, they go on to say that it will take hundreds of years before the city truly is the next floating city. This new research is meant as a warning to be aware of the issue before the problems get out of hand. Well, this week in Harrisburg, state officials and financial literacy teachers advocated for a personal finance requirement for Pennsylvania students. Finance teachers say that their courses offer students a wide range of topics, such as behavioral economics, budgeting, banking, investing, and even planning for college. The average in-state tuition cost for public universities in Pennsylvania is nearly $15,000 per year. The national average for a private college tuition is roughly $40,000. Currently, personal finance is a requirement in a handful of states, but not in Pennsylvania.
We need to make it a graduation requirement. Parents want this, adults want this for their community. I mean, even if they don't have a student, adults think that this is important.
Pennsylvania's Auditor General Tim DeFore says the states that require professional finance are already seeing positive results, like improved credit scores and reduced delinquency rates. Well, as Memorial Day marks the unofficial start of summer, many people are gearing up for outdoor parties and celebrations. However, with the rising costs of food, beverages, and entertainment, it's important to find ways to save money without sacrificing the fun. In today's Consumer Watch, we have 5 money-saving tips for your summer parties.
Food and home decor and entertainment. Those would be the 3 big areas to watch your budget and really rack in the savings. So just plan your menu and decide what your non-negotiables are. Grab $5 or $10, head to your local discount store, grab a couple of big bright beach balls and just toss them in the yard. The kids will love it, the grown-ups will too. People will probably not remember 100% what you put on the table. They will remember the spirit in which you hosted. They will remember the fellowship and the fun that they had when they were in your space.
Now, a bonus tip that they gave us, to embrace potluck parties. Instead of bearing the entire financial burden of providing food and drinks, consider hosting a potluck party. Now you can invite your guests to contribute to their favorite dishes or beverages. While coming up, we look at the Capitol as a deal has been reached regarding U.S. debt. And later, we look at the Indy 500, where a crash sent a tire into a fan's personal vehicle. But first, we return with a look at our full weather forecast.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
You ever want to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights. Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down. Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under sunny skies out there. The current temperature at the Jamestown Airport is 73 degrees as of the noon hour with a south wind of 7 miles per hour. Well, let's take a look at the forecast high temperatures over the next 5 days because it's going to get pretty warm out there today and tomorrow. We're forecasting highs in Jamestown around 84 degrees. The heat of the week should peak around Thursday and Friday when we get temperatures in the city around 85, 86 degrees. By the end of the week, Thursday and Friday, some areas again might get closer towards 90 degrees well inland from the lake. And then a weak cold front's going to move through the region on Friday and we drop the temperature down ever so slightly heading into the weekend with highs in the lower 80s. If you don't like the heat, well, there are signs that some cooler than average temperatures, if you can believe that, are on the horizon running from June 6th to June 12th. The NOAA 8 to 14 day temperature outlook does favor below average temperatures returning to the region. And looking at the precipitation outlook, it does look like we will get into some rain by the middle of next week. So we will keep you updated on that because we do need some rain. And it does look like some is on the way. We just have to get through the rest of this week and the weekend before we get into that. High pressure continues to keep us dry across the region. In fact, high pressure is keeping Pennsylvania, Ohio, all the way back to Michigan. The entire area is locked in high pressure. That's keeping any other systems from reaching the area, and that will continue to do so over the next few days and over the next week, I should say. So here's future scan the rest of the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies. It's trying to show a pop-up rain shower. That's not going to happen. You might see maybe a couple passing clouds, but otherwise most of the day is going to be dry. Tonight's going to be dry, and tomorrow the same thing tomorrow. Partly to mostly sunny skies. Again, future scans trying to pop up an isolated rain shower tomorrow afternoon. It's not going to happen. We're under high pressure and we're going to be pretty dry over the next few days with mainly clear skies through the overnight period. So here's the forecast for tonight. Partly to mainly clear skies. Another night for comfortable sleeping weather. Lows overnight will drop to the low to mid 50s across the inland areas to near 60 at the immediate lake area shoreline with calm winds overnight. And now the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Summer-like weather today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You get the idea. Nothing is happening, just lots of sunshine and summer-like air. There's a small chance for an isolated shower on Friday, but even then it's just a very small chance and just dry weather. Boring in the weather department.
Well, I kind of would like to see rain at sometime soon, Andrew.
Maybe by the middle of next week.
Good, I'll look forward to it. These hot temperatures, whoo. Well, now for some headlines from around the nation. A deal on debt ceiling has been agreed on by President Biden and Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Now, it is up to the House and Senate to pass the legislation before June 5th. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp shares what's in the debt ceiling deal.
We've got good news.
After long days of negotiations between President Joe Biden and Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, the two have reached an agreement on the debt ceiling.
We're ready to move to the full Congress.
They agreed to keep a 2-year suspension of the debt ceiling, which caps the total amount of money the government is allowed to borrow. The suspension will hold off this next fight about the nation's debt until 2025, which is after the next presidential election. For non-defense spending, it would essentially remain the same except for a 1% increase between FY 2024 and 2025 after certain adjustments to the appropriations were made, including rescinding $30 billion in unobligated COVID relief funding and shifting $20 billion in IRS funding to other non-defense areas. One of the biggest changes involves expanding work requirements for certain adults getting food stamps. The legislation would impose new work requirements for food stamps on adults ages 50 to 54 who don't have kids living in their home. Currently, the work requirements only apply to people ages 18 to 49. The age limit will be phased in over 3 years, but the bill would exempt veterans, homeless people, and people who were children in foster care from food stamp work requirements. In all, both sides are calling it a win.
No one thought at any given day that we would be where we are today. The president said he wouldn't negotiate with us for 97 days. He wouldn't even allow us to talk. After we passed the bill, we were able to get in. But it wasn't until the final 2 weeks that would we really be able to sit down and communicate with one another. At the end of the day, people can look together to be able to pass this in the House and the Senate together to sign it and send it to the president.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Now, sometime today, a House committee will take up this legislation and debate about it. Now, we expect the House to vote on this by Wednesday, but until then, Biden and McCarthy are trying to make sure that there's enough votes in their party to get this move through Congress and onto the president's desk before the June 5th deadline. While an Army veteran and member of the far-right Oath Keepers was sentenced Friday, Jessica Watkins will spend 8.5 years in prison for participating in the Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021. She was convicted of several felonies, including conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. The judge said the sentence reflects her aggressive efforts that day and lack of immediate remorse. During the trial, prosecutors said Watkins and her small militia marched in tactical gear to the Capitol. After sentencing, Watson called herself an idiot running around the hallway. Two of her co-defendants, Stuart Rhodes and Kelly Meggs, were already sentenced to 18 and 12 years in prison, respectively, for conspiracy. Late in Sunday's Indy 500, a crash sent a wheel flying over the track's fence. Now, it just missed the grandstands, but it landed on the hood of Robin Matthews' Chevy Cruze. When a friend told her what happened, she thought he was joking.
Well, we saw the tire go over because I was in turn 2, and they said the tire went over, and somebody said that it hit one of the golf carts. Well, I was parked by the golf cart, and I looked, and I saw the back of my car, and I'm like, okay, I didn't think of anything. And then somebody from another suite's like, Robin, it was your car. And I'm like, shut up, because I didn't believe him. He's a jokester. And he's like, it's your car. And he showed me a picture. I'm like, immediately my stomach dropped and I was shaking, just anxious and nervous, just scared, just thankful that nobody got hurt, And my car's name is Snowball, and she took one for the team.
Now, after the race, the Indianapolis Speedway president invited Matthews for a photo op kissing the bricks. Since Dale Jarrett did it in 1996, it's become a tradition for the Indy 500 winner to honor the Brickyard's history in this way. The Speedway has also arranged for a ride home since Snowball was badly damaged. Well, next, we look at Jamestown's Memorial Day Parade and what the holiday symbolizes.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at
Hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong.
private land has been quite the experience.
3-on-3 basketball returns to Jamestown, New York this summer. Collaborative Children's Solutions and partners are hosting a Gus Macker tournament August 19th and 20th in Brooklyn Square. The streets will be packed with a festival atmosphere, bringing the youngest of our Mackermites up to the adult players who compete for the top prize in their divisions. Register online at Macker.com before July 31st. The Jamestown Macker will also include some specialty competitions, making it one of the best community events of the year.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
From floats to guest speakers, those in the Jamestown Memorial Day Parade and subsequent ceremony wanted to make sure that the holiday was to remember those who had fallen for the sake of their country and commend them for making the ultimate sacrifice. Our Alyssa Wright reports.
All gave some, and some gave all. When you can attach a name and a face to the latter part of that sentence, it's something you can't forget. It'll stick with you forever.
During Vietnam veteran Cameron Brooks' speech, he shared his worry that the meaning of Memorial Day is being forgotten.
It's a somber day of remembrance, or at least it should be. Unfortunately, for many, it's just another day off with pay, a day to party, and to enjoy the unofficial first day of summer.
Thankfully, those like Cub Scout pack leader Stephanie Johnston are working to ensure that the younger generations understand the importance of the day.
I actually help run the Cub Scout pack, and so we make sure that these scouts know the meaning of Veterans Day. We work with the United Veterans Group and put flags in the cemetery, and we teach them the meaning of today as well as.
Brooks hopes everyone will appreciate the meaning of Memorial Day and keep the fallen soldiers' memories alive.
We must realize that there will be more who will give their all, their lives, and we will see them no more. They will be the future ones we will honor on this day in years to come. Let us not forget them and the ones that rest in the cemeteries spread across this country and around the world.
The ceremony at Lakeview Cemetery concluded with a flag raising in the center of Soldiers Circle while the crowd paid their silent respects. In Jamestown, Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. And Andrew, you were there as well at the parade. It was pretty good turnout, I thought.
I've been pretty much going to the parade for many years now, and I think that was one of the biggest turnouts from Spandon, from what I saw back all the way on 4th Street down to where we were set up. It was a pretty big crowd. I bet it was in the thousands from start to finish.
That's what I was betting while we were there, just even trying to find a space to park, and we had gotten there maybe a half hour before it even started, and it was crazy. We had to park probably a mile away from where we actually set up, but then we went to that ceremony afterwards, and it was pretty good for the first time happening in 3 years.
It was great to see the city of Jamestown getting out in the thousands, and we had perfect weather for it, too.
That we did, and it will continue to be that way for a while, but that's all the time that we have for you today. Remember that news continues every day, 24/7 here at WNY News Now. Be sure to catch us on our mobile app, on the Apple App Store, and Google Play Store. Yeah, that's it. We'll leave you this live look over Finley Lake. We'll see you next time.